Our creators just got a brand new minor map modifier called Bird City. If it wasn't clear enough, it's a play on words of Buried City, which is where this map takes place. And basically what you're doing is you're running around on rooftops, looting chimneys, finding tons of rare items, including these new rubber ducks that have been added to the game that are quite valuable if you do collect quite a few of these. You can display these in your hideouts, and overall it's a very, very interesting and cool event. I'm actually quite liking it a lot. My initial intentions of this video were to strictly focus on the looting potential of this map modifier, because it is ridiculous. Not only can you get a crap ton of stuff from the chimneys and whatnot, the map is wide open for looting because a lot of people ignore loot spots because they're so focused on the chimneys and whatnot. And I still plan on doing that toward the later part of the video, but during this initial part of the video, I want to talk about a growing problem in Arc Raiders, and that has to do a lot with the map modifiers as a whole. And if we don't address this soon, or if Embark does not address this soon, it could become a real problem as we go forward into the future of Arc Raiders. To visually see my point, we're going to be over on Metaforge in their event tracker. This is a tremendous resource if you're not using it. I'm going to link it down in the description below, but here we can see the Bird City map modifier, which is only available, and I'm on East Coast US, so that way you know exactly my geography for this. It's only available at 7 p.m. at night, 3 a.m. in the morning, and 11 a.m. in the morning as well. I don't know about you, but I have a normal job, I have a life, and I'm not able to get on for 3 a.m. and 11 a.m. specifically, and at 7 p.m. I'm usually trying to do live stuff and whatnot. And I understand Arc Raiders doesn't need to cater to my life, but I imagine a lot of you have been like this for many of the events. Like when you're hearing people talk about do your trials, and everybody's saying you gotta do it on Hidden Bunker, and Hidden Bunker's available at 10 in the morning and 11 at night. And you're like, what the hell? I can't be on at these times because I have a family or I have to work or all these various things like that. So this is a problem with Arc Raiders right now that needs to be adjusted. I don't really have a problem with these things being limited so that way they aren't always in the rotation and clogging up space, but I also look at it like this. Like if you're gonna have them be such long hours, have it be more random. Maybe bump them up an hour or something like that, or maybe make it every 4 hours or something like that, to where that way it's more readily available, because a lot of people can't take advantage of these events, and it's very, very frustrating for much of the community because they want to do Lock Gate to try and get the Bobcat, but they can't be available at 4 in the afternoon or midnight or 8 a.m. That's literally during work hours for most people. So that is my biggest problem right now with a lot of these events in Arc Raiders, is the fact that they are at such odd times, and we have to wait for major updates or some sort of updates in order to readjust these times. And I feel like it should be happening more organically. Maybe even the fact that they should be more readily available. Example being, like I mentioned, every 4 hours, because I don't think that these things are that big of a deal. And I understand they have a lot of events to keep up with, like Harvester events, like Lush Bloom, like Matriarch, and all sorts of things like that. I totally get it. But the thing is that even something like the Launch Tower, right? I have never seen the Launch Tower, or if I see it, it is extremely rare, because right now it is at 8 p.m. at night or 8 a.m. And I just never friggin' see this thing. And not that I really want to do it, but it is something I would like to at least have the option to do, but it's only available twice a day. Bird City is only available 3 times a day, and if you can't get on at these odd times to play it, you're not gonna play it. And Lock Gate, again, is only available 3 times a day. Hidden Bunker is only available 2 to 3 times a day, and they're at odd times all over the place. So that is my biggest problem right now with a lot of these events, is that they're really cool stuff I want to participate in, or at least have the option to participate in. And I know a lot of you out there are like this, and it's frustrating. I work an odd hour job that allows me to have time in the afternoon to play these events or do these things if they have time slots available. So I'm fortunate for that, but I know a lot of the community out there cannot do this. And I'm basically making this part of the video to plead with Embark to find a solution for this, because they keep coming out with these cool events, but we can't take advantage of them. Now, what I think they are doing well is the major map conditions, like electromagnetic. They're also doing a great job with the night raids, as well as they did a great job with Cold Snap, because those events feel like they're readily available. And Cold Snap, in my opinion, was the best shining example. When you have a cool event like Bird City, Lock Gate, Hidden Bunker, they should be available for like 2 hours. Because Cold Snap was available for 2 hours, so it gave people a 2-hour time window to take advantage of the event. And I thought that was actually the perfect thing for them to do. Because let's just say I couldn't get on at 4 o'clock to play the event. I still have another hour if I get home at like 5 o'clock to be able to play the event and whatnot. So again, there's many different things they can do, and personally, this is how I would structure it as a whole. If they're doing these unique modifiers for some of these events like Bird City, Lock Gate, things like that, that are really special, especially Bird City, it's a brand new event and it needs to be special and more available. If you're not gonna make more events, make it 2 hours. Make it 2 hours like Cold Snap, make it available for a while so people can fully take advantage of it and whatnot, because it shouldn't affect the rotations of some of the other minor map modifiers. Or again, like I mentioned before, make it more readily available every 4 hours, so that way plenty of people have plenty of time to take advantage of the event, because so many people want to do this and earn these cool items that you can only get from this event and whatnot. So a little bit of a soapbox to stand on, but this was extremely frustrating the moment I saw this was announced, and it just kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, because we keep seeing this over and over and over again with these map conditions, is that they're not available long enough. They're only available during odd hours of the day. They're not really catering to the main audience, which is the casual audience. All right, so now that my opening tirade is over, we're gonna explain kind of some of the best things to do when you actually do get into this event, how you should be approaching it, and kind of what to expect, right? So the idea is that there are going to be a higher amount of loot drops on top of all the buildings that have chimneys. That's going to be isolated, like buildings right here by the Grandioso Apartments, really heavily down here by Plaza Rosa, and all sorts of things like that. So any building that you see down in this basically southern half of the map is going to have a rooftop, and it's also going to have some sort of chimney involved. Down here, and for example, this little Churchill area, this is going to have a ton of rooftops with chimneys and things like that, like I'm showing on screen. And you're going to be able to get tons of little rubber ducks and all sorts of trinkets and that. So the big thing about this to keep in mind is that there are going to be some that are in higher spots than others. So bringing a snap hook or zip lines is going to be advantageous for you to be able to get to some of the higher places faster. There are some available zip lines around the map as well and whatnot to help you as well. But overall, I think that bringing a snap hook is actually a smart play to get you around much faster. And the big thing for this is not only the rubber ducks, but you get a ton of miscellaneous trinkets. Like you can get the little snow globes in a lot of quantity. You can also get Exodus modules, complex gun parts, and all sorts of various other trinkets and crafting components and things like that. Or you can just get as little as just basic crafting components and things. So in general, there's a ton of things to loot from these bird nests and whatnot. So taking full advantage, especially if you spawn down in this area, is going to be a big thing for you to get a ton of loot. Now, a couple of things that I've noticed with this event so far in my little time playing it is that you got a couple of different options for how to approach this. You can either just come down here, or if you spawn down here, participate in the event, jump on the rooftops, get the chimneys and stuff. You're going to get a lot of loot that way. However, a lot of the high tier loot spots, especially during the beginning stages of the event, are going to be being ignored. Things like hospital, things like space travel and research, things like town hall, if you can get that key in there, Santa Maria house, this little loot spot right here in the corner, the various pharmacies and whatnot. So if you want to, what you can do instead of focusing on the rooftops, you can just run around and loot all the high tier loot spots, and they're going to be free game for you. All these keyed rooms and things like that are going to be wide open, especially in the beginning stages, because what happens is once everybody's done looting these rooftops, they're going to start gravitating toward these loot spots. What I was personally doing was I was doing a little bit of both. If I spawned relatively close to the chimneys, I was hitting some high tier loot spots. Like for example, if I spawned near Plaza Arbisto, I was hitting this little pharmacy right here. And then I was hitting rooftops along the way in and around this area. And I was able to get a crap ton of loot doing that. Same thing here. If I spawned toward the northern half of the map, I just ignored the rooftops and went straight to hospital, research, and space travel, and looted the hell out of these areas and got all the loot I could out of those. And again, if you spawn down here near Santa Maria or this little loot room right here in the corner, you can get a lot of stuff from there, as well as Plaza Rosa and stuff. So that's really the approach that you need to take with this particular map modifier. Is you need to decide kind of early, because you only have an hour to do this thing, what you want to do. Then where you spawn greatly determines that. So don't be so focused on the chimneys. Focus on what you're close to, what the loot spots are, and I'm going to highlight as many of those as I can on the screen so that way you can see that and whatnot. So yeah, again, you can make a ton of money out of this event if you just focus on one or the other, or even just a mixture of both. Real quick, I wanted to give you an example of what I was bringing in, because I think it was actually very effective, and this is dependent on where you are in aggression-based matchmaking. If you're heavily on the PvP side, you're gonna need to prepare for PvP, but if you're on the PvE side, you can pretty much get away with something like this, because currently I'm more skewed that way just in this particular second. But basically, you got to prepare for a couple of different things. You got to not only prepare for potential PvP, but you also have to prepare for all the various flying arc that are going to be around the map. Because based on the map modifier, there are more Rocketeers, more Wasps, more Hornets, and there's a lot more bird traps everywhere to alert these various flying units and whatnot. So you need to be able to defend yourself. Now, you can bring in Wolfpack grenades to help you with the Rocketeers. That's going to be great because you can take them out very fast. You don't have to worry about dealing with them. Or you can bring in Hull Cracker to help you deal with the Rocketeers, or whatever you want to bring in to deal with the Rocketeers. You can do that. For me personally, I was bringing the Venator in to help with taking out the other flying arc, such as the Wasp and the Hornets, because I feel like it's just very good. It's very lightweight and things like that. I was also bringing in this looting augment to have more loot spots. And the biggest thing overall is I was bringing in the Snap Hook. The Snap Hook was incredible for being able to traverse the map and get on the higher rooftops very fast, not having to worry about trying to climb or deal with zip lines and stuff like that. It was very good. Because this is a minor map modifier, you can use Raider hatch keys, which is going to be good for getting you in and out quickly because of the limited time. If you feel like you're not going to get any more loot, hatching out is a lot faster than waiting for the train. And then you can also bring in the photoelectric cloak. This is going to protect you from flying arc to a pretty large degree if you just use it. Just hold it up and it will protect you from everything flying around you and whatnot very easily. And then lastly, whatever med you want. And then the biggest thing is adrenaline shots. This is going to help you navigate the map a whole lot faster. I was bringing in 2 stacks just to be able to get through the map very quickly and whatnot. So this is pretty much what I was running with some odds and ends changed out here and there. But this is a really effective loadout, especially if you're on the PvE side of things. If you're on PvP, you're definitely going to want to bring in things to be able to fight other players and whatnot. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know how you're enjoying the event and your thoughts overall on map modifiers and how they are currently in the game. More importantly, make sure you let me know how many unique rubber ducks you've found so far in your traverses through the Bird City event. Make sure you like, subscribe for more content similar to this. But anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.